Welcome back to the Webby and O'Neill channel, and Fabrizio Romano's confirmed it. Manchester United are back in direct talks with Brentford for Mbeumo as a second bid is being prepared. The positive news is Mbeumo wants Manchester United. Get involved, have your say, and we'll try and discuss some of your comments throughout today's video. I think I pronounced his name two different ways in that intro, but it's going to get a lot of getting used to now. Your first thoughts on it? Are you confident that this deal will get done?
Well, I look at it in a bigger picture. I'm happy going into the weekend. Looking at this deal, if you go back to last summer, deals were done. Now, that was very rare that we got deals done early. The same is happening again this summer. So for me, I think the men in suits behind are doing a good job and getting these deals, because there is no two ways about it. He's coming to United. Just a little bit of a conversation is what's needed. Up the money. Mbeumo wants United. There's no one stopping in the way. And I've just got to say, going into the weekend, I'm happy at the way these transfers are being dealt with. It's just a pity we haven't got the money what we used to have.
Yeah, it does. And if you look at the Cunha bid and how that's actually been structured, I mean, Manchester United first went in and wanted instalments over 5 years. And what do you expect with this bid? I mean, how it's to be structured? Do you think it'll be done over the length of his contract? Or do you think Brentford want a large chunk of it up front?
Well, I look, it's going to be structured, but, you know, Brentford want cash. They want cash. Yeah, but let's get it right. 100% they're not getting it. Not from United. I mean, the quarterly results just come out, the third quarter results. There's no cash there. It'll be in instalments. Maybe United wanted to prolong it into 3, maybe 4 seasons, but it's not happening. And I think United are going to have to up the bid, possibly to 55, 60 million. With add-ons. United went in a little bit cheeky, I think. But they'll get the deal done. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah, it's definitely a player I think's had real quality to this current squad anyway. Definitely needed.
Yeah, well, I'm baffled by fans. Well, not all fans. Some people are out there, and I'm baffled by it, saying he's not top quality. I mean, he's a consistent goal scorer. 20 goals. He does assists and all that. So scores at home, scores away and all that. So I'm baffled by a lot of criticism about Mbeumo. For me, I think he's a good footballer and he's got the Premier League experience. Something what we like. Scoring goals in the Premier League, excellent. Can't argue by it. But hey, fans have got opinions. I've got my own opinion.
Yeah, Marcus Stevenson, Fred Grantham from our members club. Happy Friday, everyone. Just a matter of add-ons, Fred says, and getting this Mbeumo deal done. And for me, when I'm seeing the criticism of Mbeumo, it's more or less of just the one season that's been the standout season, which was last season. But is he 25? Maybe 26. I think he's 25. I mean, he's coming into his peak years as well. And you want to see him carry that form of last season in a Manchester United shirt. And that has probably been the main issue with our recruitment over the years, because we've signed players based on the performances that they've been putting it in at the previous clubs. That's why we've bought him. But when they put a Manchester United shirt on, it's declined a majority of the players. And for me, Mbeumo, Cunha, I mean, they look like they've got the right attitudes about them, the right personalities, that they will want to make it here at Manchester United.
Yeah, they've got the right attitude. They've got everything what United need, the experience, the goals. It's just what United need. I think what it is with fans, some of them aren't seeing why is Mbeumo having a breakout season. Ivan Toney's gone. You know, he's there, he's the main man, and he's come out of his shell, and he's got more space, and he's there further up front, whereas Ivan Toney, he was the target man. So I think fans are actually missing how his game has actually changed, where he sits in the team for Brentford, and what they expect from him. They expected more from him, and they've got more. I just want a consistent goal scorer, and I would be over the moon getting what he's done in last season's games. Yeah, that for me is what I want, a consistent goal scorer, because that's what we're missing.
I mean, we struggled for points last season, let's have it right. But if we're taking the best player from Brentford and the best player from Wolves, I mean, we should be guaranteed 6 points against them two teams next season. We need the points, don't we?
Listen, you can't guarantee anything with United. You know what I mean? You can't guarantee anything. You know, wishful thinking there, Kieran. But no, these are 2 goal scorers. You're not just getting 1, you're getting 2. And people are still talking about, we need a striker, we need a number 9 and all that. Yes, you know, I do believe we need a number 9, and I do believe we need 2 new number 9s, to be honest with you. You know, the more you get, the better. We have lacked in goals, and these 2 will bring a smile to everyone's face. I've no doubt whatsoever. For me, I just look at it. The expectations is with Mbeumo, get him before the 10, get him settled in. That'll be great. Now, obviously, Kuna's deal is delayed because of like work permit things and that, but there's no problem with that. Just get him in early, and it's great. And by the 10th, next week, we could have a 3rd player on the books being looked at and a deal being processed. And I will be over the moon if that's, because I expect 3 deals.
Well, listen, it's got to be 3 deals. I mean, Liam Delap there, he was obviously a target.
Yes.
Shown him around Manchester United, the ground, the facilities, just like other clubs did as well. So it's clearly on the agenda that United want a centre forward this summer.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little bit giddy, like I was on yesterday's show, just talking about Gyökeres, you know, some of the angles that we were looking and discussing about it, of why there's not been any real bids out there from other clubs, because all clubs need a top striker, especially with the CV he's got. And I do personally think that Manchester United are waiting to try and get some of the players out so they can actually afford a transfer fee for Gyökeres. I really do believe that. I just don't think he was Man United's number 1 target. And if you look at it realistically, the financial side of it, you can understand why Delap was the number 1 choice for £30 million, and especially with him working with the likes of Wilcox, who's obviously got a good idea about the player as well. I do like Delap. I liked his performances, especially last season for Ipswich, so I could understand why he was the number 1 target, but it's not a bad second target to have in Gyökeres if that is the case.
Yeah, well, going for Delap tells you it's clear they had 3 targets. Yes, Delap has gone to Chelsea, so Gyökeres is there. So 3 deals they expect to get done. And I think how the club are looking at it, it's the same old situation again when the transfer window opens. You know, we're going to have to sell. We're going to have to sell to buy players. So you look at the second part of the transfer window, which opens on the 16th of June. By rights, we should all be informed that certain players have got certain clubs, but I don't think it's going to be that easy. I just don't think it's going to be that easy. I did say the other day, we might go towards the end of the window, not really getting any money in for some of these players, a lot of them going out on loan, and that we might end up having to get loan players in. I think that might be on the cards.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just scrolling back up the chat. Patrick Shields, thank you for your super chat, sorry. Thank you for the membership last time. Love your channel. I think it might have been the legend, Frank Grantham, in the chat who give you that membership, mate. So big thank you to Fred. Kevin Hiron says, what a channel. Always look forward to your videos. So much knowledge. He's got 5 or 6 stars on there as well, mate. We're not always right. We just give our honest opinions, mate. And we'd like you to do the same as well, which a lot of you do. So it's good to see that we're building up a community here of, you know, United fans who are willing to give their honest opinions and just have an overall Manchester United chat. It's really good to see as well. And myself, my dad, Webby and others as well, always have a good read of your comments at the night time or the following day. And yeah, there's some real sensible comments in there. Going back into the chat again, people talking about Højlund. Here's one for you. Paul Hegarty from our members club. Criticise Højlund all day long, but he's been up there on his own. Cunha and Mbeumo will bring him on. Is that what it is with Højlund? He's just been lacking that service from the players in the squad last season.
I think as time's gone on with Højlund, and you're right, he is up there on his own. We've pinpointed the problems, what's going on. He's not getting the service. He's up there. He's battling alone up there, but he's doing it in the wrong way. And as time goes on, your confidence goes and everything. He's doing everything he shouldn't be doing. Why it's not been turned around by the coaches and everything, I don't know. But the pressure has got to him. I looked at him there, Højlund, in Hong Kong, and his head just looked absolutely battered. It just didn't look right on him. frustrated, annoyed in a game like that. It just wasn't working. And probably what didn't help Højlund was Obi scored in a couple of goals as well. That probably deflated him. So things went really bad for him. Some of it is his own fault. I mean, he's got a poor touch. It just seems to have got worse where he doesn't hold the ball. But he's under massive pressure, and there is talk of possible him leaving the club and that. But I don't believe that United will sell him. I think he's there. He's too young to sell, to be honest with you, as a striker. There is something in him, but can Rúben Amorim bring it out with these players, what he's bringing in? We might see a different Højlund in pre-season if he's here for that. That's what I'm looking forward to. I don't want to discard him too early. Yes, he's been here a while now, and, you know, big lad and all that. And I do think he's had a tough time, more than any other player, to be honest with you, because he was thrust into it. He was brought here as a player for the future, and then suddenly he's there on his own. So for me, a tough time for him. And I think with the change in players leaving the club and everything else like that, I think it'll do him the world of good. And you might see a different Højlund.
Yeah, I do get that with you talking about him having a tough time. I mean, for such a young lad to lead the line for Manchester United, be that main man who you can rely on game after game to put the ball in the back of the net, it was never really going to be the case, was it? We always needed that other striker in there who probably had the more experience around Europe. You know, we could probably take the pressure, handle it. But for me, I mean, if there's a chance there of getting Gyökeres, you've got to go and do it. And for me, if that means actually selling Højlund or just loaning him out for the season, I mean, to see where we finish next season, hopefully, you know, we have a lot better season than we did last season, and then bring him back, you know, probably less pressure on him at another club, whether that's in Italy. A lot's been talked about. But for me, I mean, if there's a possibility of Gyökeres coming, you've got to go all out and get him.
Oh, you've got to go out.
And if that means sacrificing Højlund, I mean, so be it for me.
Yeah, well, if you've got to sacrifice him, you've got to sacrifice him, because what we need is someone who can put the ball in the back of the net, and Gyökeres fits the bill. So for me, you know, all out, get a striker, and United were going all out for that striker. Some people criticised Liam Delap, but I actually believe his physicality, his work rate and everything, and for scoring in an Ipswich side, as he did, I think he's really done well. And he's got the Premiership. He knows what it's all about. And I seen him a few times, and I thought to myself, and, you know, I thought it was like a young Mark Hughes, even though people have criticised me for it. It was his physicality and everything, and the way he put himself about, what made me look like that. So there is a striker, but it's how we get him. So for me, I just look forward to seeing what Højlund and Gyökeres, the situation does. And if the two are here, hey, even better, I say.
Fair point here from Simply Dread United, from our members club. You see the relief and joy on Højlund's face when he scores. It's like, takes me back to the Italian striker Filippo Inzaghi, you know, scoring goals at Juventus and AC Milan. He used to go absolutely nuts and wild, didn't he? Even with little tap-ins when he scored his celebrations. And it is like that with Højlund when he scored, like the goals he did do last season.
You know, when you listen to ex-players and they talk about strikers and they delight in how they used to score goals, and how it made them feel. But to see a striker score a goal when he's going through a tough time, and he's just had pure 12 months of a tough time. Yes, the excitement's there and that, but let's get to the reality. Will he perform this summer to be able to get in there? A lot of fans out there are absolutely critical of Højlund and that he needs replacing with Gyökeres. There's no two ways about it. The tide has turned for Højlund, okay, with the fan base. Okay, some people say he's had a tough time, it's not all his fault and everything else like that. But the reality is a lot of fans are now saying enough's enough. He's had plenty of time. We need to get Gyökeres in or a top-level centre-forward. It's as simple as that. And I don't believe United really want to get rid of him at this moment. And I don't feel as though they're under that much pressure to get rid of him when they've got options to sell other players to bring in money to fund the centre forward. That's how I look at it. I might be wrong. The problem with Højlund as well, like, don't get me wrong, you statmans out there might tell me differently, but how many chances does he really get
in a game inside that actual penalty box. I mean, all the top strikers out there, they still get 2 or 3 chances sometimes before they put the ball in the back of the net. It's just that for me, taking my mind back to last season, how many chances did we really create for Højlund in that penalty box? Because that's where he wants to be. You don't really see him score many goals outside the box during his United career. It's all sort of inside that box, isn't it?
I've listened to fans, spoke to lots of fans, and I've seen lots of comments from yous out there. And it's as though, like, the last 6 months, people have been saying he's not putting himself in the right position. The ball's coming across, or, the ball's being whipped in there, and he's not in the right position. He's on his heels. He's just like looking around.
Yeah.
So that's I think he's getting the chances. I think the ball is coming across more than it used to be. I was very critical of it. But I have seen a lot of crosses coming, and he's either too forward or he's too far back, or when the ball comes in low, it's just the same. It's as though he's unsure of where he should be. And I can understand that, because I think a lot of players are unsure of where they should be at certain points in the game.
Yeah, there has been some games where I can remember, especially the one that sticks out for me was the Fulham away game last season. I think, was it Martinez who scored 1-0? It took a deflected shot, went in the top bins. I mean, the first 30 minutes with Højlund that game, I was just shaking my head like he needs to come off. I mean, his hold-up play was actually abysmal, and that's me just telling the truth. That's not me slandering the kid, but it was abysmal. And some of his runs that I've seen him do really since that game, you could be right. It's a real lack of confidence, because it all just seems to be runs in straight line runs. It's no diagonal runs, giving something for the defender to think about running off the shoulder, etc. But, some games you will see that. Other games you'll see him in positions where the wide men should be crossing to him and picking him out. And I think it has been in a bit of a mix, to be honest with you, a bit of a mixed bag. But for me, like I say before, if there's any chance of getting Gyökeres, and if he has to be a sacrifice Højlund, whether he goes on loan for the season and comes back United, I'd probably prefer that one than just getting rid of him completely, especially at his age. But, Gyökeres has got to be a target there, because we do need a bagsman in.
Yeah, I think what it is with Højlund, when it comes down to it, right, and how it's got worse, is a lack of confidence in that. And, even before his real tough time, what he's had this year, and that, he wasn't a consistent goal scorer. What we need, and we was only hoping that he would develop. And I think the way it's gone, he's not going to develop. And he might need somewhere else, and for a loan deal, and that's great. But I just don't see United selling him.
Yeah, a lot of us getting involved in the chat, to be honest with you, on Rasmus Højlund. I mean, Bruno Fernandes, we've talked about him recently. You've got Mbeumo. Looks like, I think a deal will get done over the weekend, fingers crossed. Got Cunha in. A lot of people on the channel, lots of comments mentioning them two in the number 10 roles. Bruno dropping deeper into midfield. I have seen a lot of comments, people prioritising a midfielder in this transfer window over even a new goalkeeper or a centre forward. What would be your thoughts on that?
I look at it this way. We're going for 3 targets, okay? And what's missing now is the centre forward, what United have actually targeted. So that is the fact of who they've targeted, 3 players. So any other players, right, will depend on what we sell. And I am telling you, okay, we need a centre half. We need a centre half. Definitely need a centre half. I know people are going on about having the goalkeeper, and reports out there. How valid they are, I don't know. Martinez is fancying coming to Manchester United after, not being available for Aston Villa. He wants to come to United. Martinez. Okay.
The goalkeeper?
Yeah.
Emi Martinez.
Emi Martinez wants to come to Man United. They're the reports, okay? And most people out there are adamant we've got to get rid of Onana. And I don't believe he's going to get rid of Onana. I think things are going to change, and I think they're going to keep him. So that's how I look at it. Now, I might be 100% wrong. That's fine. But I am telling you, if any money comes available, the first person what needs putting in there is a centre half, okay? Harry Maguire's not going to last, okay? De Ligt, Yoro. Hey, now, come on. Where's the rest of the backup? We need a solid, big, strong centre half.
Yeah, we do. I get what you mean, but we can't all get it done in this summer transfer window. Spoke many a time, 2-3 summer transfer windows to get in a squad where you can think to yourself, look, this can challenge in the Premier League, and yeah.
But these players coming through the youth for the midfield. Surely these players there.
You've got Sekou Kone, who's had a bit of game time over in Malaysia, didn't he? Is it a bit too soon from him? You've got other players.
Toby Collier.
I like Toby Collier.
You've got a big, strong lad. So that for me, I think that's the way they're going to be looking at. Okay, Toby Collier. Okay, so it's a centre forward we need, as far as I'm concerned, and a centre half. The others, you have to remember, Rúben Amorim and the club have been talking about, okay, bringing youth and working with them. So these sales, what we need to do, we're not really going to get any money, in my opinion. Okay, Sancho, Rashford, not really going to sell them. Could possibly go out on loan. That's the maximum we can expect from there. You might get something from Antony. Anyone else, Malacia, you're not really getting any big money. So for me, there should be just enough money there to bring in an extra player. And he did talk about sales to bring in any extra players.
Yeah, I just come on a chat seen a chat earlier on, and I actually had it in my head while she was talking about Højlund, but failed to actually get it out. And he did say, I think it was some man for one man. People seem to forget how Andy Cole used to get slaughtered for missing chances, and look at the player he was. I mean, no penalties either, Andy Cole, and look at his scoring record where it ended up in the Premier League.
I can still criticise Andy Cole. I was at West Ham away last game of the season when we should have won the league. You know what I mean? I was forced to pay 80 quid to get in. Unbelievable. And that was by me, pal.
You paying to get in?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It was just one of them unbelievable days. And Andy Cole should have scored 2-3 goals at least. Didn't do it. But we've seen Andy Cole do that on quite a few occasions. But then when he scored goals, it was just brilliant. You know what I mean? It does happen. So goals, Højlund, confidence, that's what it is. And that's what it is with centre forwards.
I mean, we've got a lot of talk, haven't we, about Højlund. Does he need to go? Does he need to stay another season? You know, Anana, Antony, Rashford, Sancho. But I'm not seeing anyone really mentioning Casemiro anymore. I mean, is that down to because you see other players who should be booted out the door first? Or have you been happy with how Casemiro come on in the last few months? Because I'm sure some of the suits in the background at United, with the wages he's on, would like to see the back of him, surely.
Yeah, I'm not interested in the wages, what he's on. His legs have gone for a long time. Hasn't got it. Yes, he's played well, but he's not the Casemiro who 18 months ago, right? Where he was up front scoring goals there, where he was at the back and all that. He gets turned, he loses the ball, he gets booked easy, he's even been sent off. He's not the player of old. He's just got to move on. He is not going to be there for United going forward next year. So for me, I think they'll try and do everything they can to get rid of him. But he's on a contract, and we've heard what he said. I'm staying. I like it here. Why should I leave?
Joe Allen, would you take Eze from Palace? I mean, with Cunha and Mbeumo in there now.
Well, I wouldn't take him. We'd have to prize him out of there with a big, big cash deal. So he's not on the cards. Eze, Mata and all that lot. These players aren't on the card. Mateta. Yeah. There's big money for these, and we just haven't got it. This is just pure speculation. I see it out there every day and everything else like that. But the reality is, we haven't got the money. And to be honest with you, sometimes when I wake up in the morning and I hear the radio or something like that, and I see the news and that, and I see this player, Eze and all, we haven't got the money. I'd love him. I'd love this player, that player and all that. But we haven't got the money. We are in a poor situation, this club, okay?
But do you think we've got a nucleus, though, of a squad? I mean, basing it on last season as well, what can actually improve after the summer of Rúben Amorim getting him on the actual training pitch?
I think.
Do you think it will work? I mean, he's mentioned it quite a lot. We've mentioned it's out there that he's looking forward to the summer, obviously recruiting some players in, but he's always mentioned having more time on the training pitch over the summer. I mean, do you think there's players in that squad who will actually improve then next season? There's enough of them?
Well, I look at it this way. You hope players improve. No, listen, you hope all the players what are in that squad last season improve. That's what you hope for when you bring in new players and that. But do I believe we'll be better? No, I don't. I think we'll have an improvement, but will we be better? We'll get some better results, okay? But as a club, as a team, as a squad, will we be better? No, I don't think so. I think it's going to be very, very tough. We'll have better results, but as a team, I think some players might not be able to rise to the occasion. You know, we will be looking and relying on a lot of young players in this squad, and the pressure going into them first 2 games is unbelievable, because the meltdown from the media and everything will come if we don't win them first 2 games. And at the moment, we don't know. I think at some point this month, we get the fixture list and that. But the pressure is going to be massive. And I don't think we're going to see a great improvement. Yes, Kuna coming in and Mbeumo, I think that'll be great. But it won't be consistent enough with this squad, because it's just not good enough as it is. And I think the experience isn't there. The experience is not there with a lot of these players. And I think some of them just can't handle it. And we've seen that with lots of players over the last couple of years.
To be honest with you, though, I am encouraged. Look, forget about the actual team and where it finished as a team last season. But with Amad and Yoro, I think they're 2 players, judging on how they played last season, fitting into a poor team and poor results. They've still done things individually that I was impressed with. And I think they're 2 players who will improve next season. Yeah,
I'm not saying they won't improve. What it is, I think they'll be up for the challenge.
Yeah.
But it's as a team. It's not the individuals. You know, Amorim's now working on a team, on to get it right, get these players playing football as a team. I couldn't care less if Amad didn't score next year, so long as he improves, like with his football, his work rate and everything, and he gets other people to score. I'll be happy with that.
Yeah.
Okay. It's as a team what needs to improve: the mentality, the physicality, everything else. So it's going to be tough. And I've no great expectations for next year. I expect results to improve.
Fred the Red Grantham from our members club has gifted 5 memberships. 5 people have been gifted them memberships. A big thank you to Fred the legend. If we finish this transfer window off, though, with Cunha and Mbeumo, and we actually got Gyökeres, I mean, what would you rate that transfer window, even with them just 3 signings? Would you be happy with that?
I think the situation this club is in, that's how you have to look at it. And getting 3 signings in, all goal scorers. Now, I wouldn't have thought that. I would not have thought that at the end of the season, that we would get 3 goal scorers in. And everybody last year, right, and that's including us, we need goal scorers. We need someone to put the ball in the net. We're creating chances, but we're not putting it in. We might sometimes only have 3 or 4 chances in a game, right? Good chances. We don't put it in. We lost lots of points because we couldn't convert. Now, we get a centre forward. If Gyökeres does come, right, that's 3 players who all score goals. How can the results not improve with that?
Do you think the actual performances, though, last season, I mean, it's an absolute kick in the teeth, actually losing that Europa League final. Do you think would be any issues, or do you envisage any issues going into the Premier League season of actually changing that mentality around into like a winning mentality? Because basically it was a losing mentality last season.
Look, the other year we won the FA Cup last game of the season. What was the mentality after that? Players wanted the manager out. You just don't know here. You have not got a clue here. And if some of these players get back on that training pitch in Carrington, right, what have been expelled out on loan and that, you don't know what's going to... There could be fireworks here, right? You know, there could be fireworks. Some players really have to stand up to some of these other players, right, who have just like rubbished this club, who are just taking the mick out of it.
Negative attitudes.
Negative attitudes. They have not got the right attitude. And it's about time some of these players inside there stood up. And that includes Bruno Fernandes. He needs to stand up now, right? And just say, no more, the dead wood's out. This is how it's got to be. And if we don't see that, to be honest with you, it's poor. It's poor from the players. It's poor from like being a man. What is it you want? Well, this is what I want from Manchester United. This is what I want to give. I want to give it all. And if you don't see players standing up, right, to the rot and the vileness what's in there, because that's what it is. People are working hard. They're bringing in players, and an attitude has to change. So players inside that dressing room and that now have to turn around and say enough's enough and put the finger in the face. And I mean it, put the finger in the face and say, you are a disgrace to this football club. That's what I want. I have no optimism until I hear that, till that aggression, until that attitude in that changing room has changed. I need to hear it before I have any confidence in this football team going forward, no matter who we bring in.
Is it not like maybe a positive? I mean, I'd love to be in the Champions League next season. I'm absolutely gutted. But with us not being in Europe less games and in working with a smaller squad, he can actually, get these players out, maybe not out the door, but away from the actual core group of players he actually wants to work, because it'll be a smaller group next season.
Listen,
and then everyone who's in that group, they're all pulling in the right direction at least.
I can't have expectations. You just don't know what's going to happen. You just don't know what's going on. Look at last summer.
Yeah, there's always
we didn't have a manager. We could have had 5 different managers. No manager wanted to come to this club. But all the players knew why. Because they were part of the problem. They were part of the problem. And in the end, we had to go back and get Erik ten Hag, bring him back. That was the stupidity of the people running the football club. But they knew the toxicity inside the dressing room. And Erik ten Hag come back. Even though certain people knew that players were calling Erik ten Hag, okay, that doesn't disappear overnight. So I still expect the same, but not on the same level. But players, that's why I'm saying it has to be called out. Has to be called out from within, okay? And players have to be called out. Names have to come out for it to change, because people will just look and think, just an easy touch, and they just carry on and on and on. So for fans, this is how I look at it. For fans, you can't have any expectations until you see people called out for not having the desire and the feeling of what it is to be a Man United player and what commitment players have to make for United. That's how I see it.
Alex 92, only a good summer if we get the right players out, and a lot of people in
that's right.
I've been talking more about wanting to see players shipped out the door more than players actually coming in, and I do agree with that.
Yeah, you can definitely say we're getting a striker somewhere, right? Gyökeres, it looks as though it could be, but we'll find a striker. They'll get a striker because that's the priority. We've got Cunha in, we've got Mbeumo in. Now here's what'll happen.
Well, not yet, Mbeumo.
Look, he'll be in. Listen, take my word for it, he'll be in. No one else is coming in for him, right? They're not talking to anyone else. He wants United, that's it, and United are talking to them. Once United started talking money and dealing with the club, that's it, he's done. He'll be in this weekend, trust me, right? What you have to look forward to, right, is other players coming in. That's all I can say. And fans have to be realistic.
I'm sending you down to Brentford straight after this video to make sure he gets done this weekend, unless you're getting clipped up, son.
I couldn't care less about being clipped up.
I know that.
Couldn't care less.
Yeah, fingers crossed though, you're right. Marcus Stevenson from our members club. I'd loan Sancho for the last season and get it done quickly so it isn't hanging over our transfer window. Just get him away from the rest of the team. I know people and ourselves in the last couple of videos have mentioned the likes of Sancho, Rashford, Antony. They don't even want to be at Manchester United. They want to be away from Manchester United themselves. But
on the same money, though.
I mean, listen, Luke Shaw, I know the fitness issues, not regular week in, week out, but they've got to get him out the door some way. It's got to happen this summer, surely, because he's been taking the piss for a very, very long time now here at this club. And he doesn't get mentioned and outed enough, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's got to go.
Yeah. I don't think he'll ever pass a medical, but they've got to get him out some way. And whether that's paying up his contract or coming to some sort of mutual agreement on a fee, they've just got to get him out the door, because surely he's not a positive influence in that dressing room. Look, he can't be, surely.
If you're going about Luke Shaw, and I think everyone out there agrees on Luke Shaw, right? Get him out, right? But it's very difficult. So at the end of the day, when you talk about Luke Shaw, you talk about Casemiro and the same. It's very difficult to get these people out on the contracts. That's the problem. And that goes back to the previous regime. They paid silly money for him, and then they gave him silly contracts and that. That's over. And it's got to be called.
Well, at least Casemiro's available though week in, week out, whereas Luke Shaw, I mean, gets back fit all of a sudden, ready for the final, and then was it the day after that? You know, he's not fit. You know, for the Villa game, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, what's actually going on there?
Yeah, but that's the past now. You have to look forward with Luke Shaw, and you have to say to yourself, will he really last? Well, no. So let's concentrate on going forward with Luke Shaw. Nobody is confident that Luke Shaw, right, will play consistently 5 games, game after game. Because I don't remember the last time it's happened, right? So you have to look to get Luke Shaw out. Casemiro, you have to look to get him out based on football alone. Yeah. He's not good enough, right, to take United forward. But the thing is, he's on a contract, the same as Luke Shaw. They'll be staying as far as I'm concerned. They'll be going nowhere.
Yeah, Alex.
Because of that contract.
Yeah, Alex 92 says still got 2-3 years left on a 200 grand a week.
Nice.
Who's going to give him that? We actually mentioned that as well with the length of his contract he's still got left.
Is that Luke Shaw he's on about?
That Luke Shaw, well, yeah.
That answers it. That answers why Luke Shaw's at 200 grand a week.
But the thing is, after the Europa League final, tell me if I'm wrong, or hopefully some of you remember it, he come out there publicly questioning the players whether they're good enough to play for this football club, including himself. Now, surely he can look at himself in the mirror and honestly say, I'm not good enough to play for this football club. So if you're saying it publicly, mate, make that decision and come to an agreement with the football club or find another club. I mean, it'll be difficult to do so, but then let's see you gone now this summer.
Unbelievable. The man looks in the mirror, right, and doesn't care and will say anything. He was thrust in front of the media. That's what he said. It wasn't good enough and all that. He doesn't care what he says. And that is the problem inside United and has been there for a decade. They'll say anything. And Luke Shaw does say anything.
Aaron Wilson, I think he's replying to comments that are going through in the live chat. Okay. Mount is fine. He's the least of the problems.
Correct.
At least he runs. And yeah, with Mount, it does look like he has that professional attitude, which has been lacking with certain players at Manchester United. And it does look like he's got a good work ethic when on the pitch.
Amorim says that in training. He has to calm him down. He has to stop him. So the work ethic's there. Everything's there. And you've just got to hope that get him right through the summer, and we'll see a rejuvenated Mason Mount. I always thought he was a good player at Chelsea, decent player, paid over the odds for him. But hey, it's Man United, that's what they do. So I'm not too worried about that. But I just look at it and think, yeah, he's got to have it this season. And if he breaks down with his injuries, and I've complained about it with this medical team and everything, how poor it is. But that's all changed now. So hopefully he doesn't break down. But if he does break down, then United have got to seriously look at it next year.
Yeah, we need to see some consistency where he's available for games week on week, and I'm sure a lot of you would agree. But I think it's also, what some people forget is Lisandro Martinez. I think it's a huge season for him to show that he's actually fit for the majority of games next season, because over the last couple of years, you know, it's been like a few games, then breaking down with an injury or suffering an injury whilst playing and being out for too long for me.
I think he'll be back in December. And then he's got 5 months of football.
I've seen a report recently saying that he will be available for pre-season, actually, with Amorim. So we could see him in the first few weeks of the Premier League. But like I say, that's just reports that are out there. But I do believe it's a big season for him, Martinez, especially when you've got the likes of Yoro and Aiden Heaven, who can play on that left side of the free.
Yeah, well, you've just got to hope that. Listen, if he comes back, if that report is true, I'm sceptical about that, to be honest, but that's my opinion. If he is back in training, absolutely brilliant. I think, yeah, it is a worry, some of his injuries, what he's had. But, hey, the man gets stuck in.
Yeah,
if we had more people around him doing the work they should be doing, he might not be overstretching, right, and doing all the running, what he has been doing. If other people around him did it, well, as far as I'm concerned, he's looking around and going, and he's not an happy man sometimes when you see him on the pitch. And he does, as far as I'm concerned, he has done excessive work on there, and that might be contributing to some of the injuries. I'm not an expert, I'm not a doctor, but it's what I see with my own eyes. So for me, with other players around him, the burden might not be as strong on him, right, to do so much. So that might help him. You just don't know. But, hey, if he is back, fantastic. Because for me, he's always, I said it the other year, I thought he was a future captain of Man United, because of like how I see him, his aggression and everything, and what it means to him. I just wish every player shown that same, that fight.
Yeah, no, I do. He's got the leadership there. He's got that work ethic, especially on the pitch. But I didn't really see much of him on the last 12 months where I really thought, that's the Lisandro Martinez of old. You can only maybe pick out 1 or 2 games that I remember. But then again, that applies to the whole squad, doesn't it? We'd be here all day. Liverpool away, he was good. He grabbed us a goal there as well. A goal away to Fulham, for being a defender as well. But yeah, I just think it's a big season for consistency, for him being available, because he is needed. I'd rather have him in the squad, fully fit, than not.
But you can only have consistency if everyone's willing to work, and that we've not seen that. Yeah. And that's the big priority going forward. Everyone's got to work, and we'll all see it in pre-season. We will all see it in pre-season, and Rúben Amorim should be able to see it, because he won't have a massive, with all the talk, it won't be a massive squad he's got to work with. And I think that will benefit everyone, to be honest.
I'm going to end on this player, because I've seen a lot of people in the chat this week talking about him. Kobbie Mainoo. I've seen a lot of people, it's growing more and more in what I see, not just in our community, but online as well, where people are more open now for Man United to sell Kobbie Mainoo. I don't agree with that. Do you?
No. I think it's the outside media and other people who aren't United fans. I have seen it, Mainoo, and I think what it is, from a United fan's point of view, they just see the talk about a new contract, which has just gone on and on and on and on. But I just think he's been played out of position. He's not been played enough.
Enough? And I think he's played too much, maybe.
Not this year, he hasn't.
No.
He's not been played in the right... Listen, I've said it time and time again about Kobbie Mainoo. He needs to be up there, and he's not been put up there. He has not been given that many starts compared to some of the other players. He deserved it. He was out of form at the start of the season because of the year before. I get that, right? But there's a lot of nonsense being talked about Kobbie Mainoo. He's not played the right football. He's a young lad, and I think he's had a bit of confidence knocked out of him, as if to say, why aren't I playing? Why aren't I playing?
For a young lad to be in the midfield at Manchester United, starting game after game under Erik ten Hag, playing ping-pong football every week, you attack, we attack. At such a young age, that's probably why, or a contributing factor of why maybe he had so many injuries last season for me. I really do, and he's just not been able to get any form back when he's come back. I actually think he's played too many games for us already at such a young age, and he probably needed that little rest on the bench, I think, from Amorim. Watch a few games of football instead of being thrust in game after game. Why not?
No, I think what it is, I think too many people are being sidetracked with, he's played too many games. I've said it myself. I thought that first year when he broke through, he played too many games. Yeah. He didn't play enough games last year. He did not play enough games in the position he favours.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Yeah, I think he does.
And that was his problem, because when he's put further back, wasted.
Yeah, I think by the judging of it, he does prefer playing in that number 10 role, but it's looking, there's going to be competition there, especially with Cunha and Mbeumo coming in. We've still got other players in the squad who can play that position. I wouldn't be so against, though, if we brought an actual midfielder in. Can Agati be that foil for Mainoo next season? If he is in that midfield too, Mainoo and Agati, he does probably need to improve on his performances, Agati, and what he was giving towards the end of the season. But, I wouldn't jump on Kobbie Mainoo just yet to get rid of him. I still want to see him at this football club for another 2, possibly 3 seasons to see how he develops, and then make a decision on him, because when he's got that ball at his feet, he's press resistant as well. He looks forward every time he gets the ball. It's just that
I think he's developed now. Yeah. I just don't think he's been played in the right football.
Yeah.
In the right position, sorry to say. Yeah, I don't think Kobbie Mainoo's been put in the right position for what he does. And what he does is excellent as far as I'm concerned. He has got good close control. He can score goals. He does get in the right positions, okay? And he does go at defenders. I've seen him up there, 18-yard, but in and around, okay? But he's not been put in the right positions. That's how I see it. And I think that's where he needs to be. And that might turn his head this summer if he's not been put in that position. That's how I see it. So you just don't know if something's going to happen in the summer with Kobbie Mainoo. If he doesn't, it's no good playing football at Manchester United if you're not in the position you're comfortable with, you're best in. What we all see him in. And we all see him best further forward. Any other position, you're wasting Kobbie Mainoo's talents. And he might be thinking that. So in the summer, let's see.
Yeah, let's see. Hopefully you've enjoyed listening to the conversation. Also, big thanks to everyone who's already got involved in the live chat, giving your opinions. That's what we like to see.
Yeah.
Please continue it as well.
Good Friday chat.
Good Friday chat going into the weekend. Hopefully we see some positive news as well, that Brentford actually accept that second bid over the weekend from Manchester United. But I'm quietly confident that they will get that deal done. Fred Grantham has just gifted 5 memberships. Fred the Red, 5 people have been gifting them memberships. Big thank you to Fred the Legend.
Thank you very much.
On that note, smash that like button on today's video to help support the channel, and we'll be back in the next one. So get that notification on, and we'll see you again soon, Reds. Much love. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.